Our first wintry system coming in for 2024, really our first wintry system that's actually going to do something of this whole winter season. I'm 5 News Chief Meteorologist Matt Standers. We want to give you a couple updates live here on our digital platforms to track what's coming at us. There's our storm system. It's not very big. There's also not a lot of moisture with it. It's kind of small. The problem with it is that it's hitting us at the coldest time of the day, which is 6, 7 o'clock in the morning this time of year. So it hits tomorrow morning, switches all this rain over to snow. Maybe on the back end, it starts to switch back to some rain as we start to warm up. But here that thing is coming into the panhandles of both Texas and Oklahoma. That swings throughout your Friday. Guys, we've got more chances for some wintry weather coming up next week, too. We've kind of got a parade of storms across the Pacific. This is the first one coming in, or this really is the second one. So this would be number 1. This would be number 2 coming to West Coast. This hits us Monday, Tuesday. And then if you look really closely up here, there's another cloud band way up towards the Gulf of Alaska. Another hit of possibly wintry weather coming to the central U.S., maybe here. We'll see. That comes up by the end of next week. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in. Here's that rain coming into Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to get mostly rain tonight. They won't start switching over to snow until the early morning. Thank you, digital team. My digital team's been getting us ready for this live stream. Appreciate them very much. They're going to get rain. But then by tomorrow morning, as it gets closer to the state line, it'll switch back over to snow just because the temperatures will just barely get cold enough. We'll be dropping temperatures right around the freezing mark by about 5 a.m. So that gives us the chance for some snowfall coming up. But there's the storm system. It'll be here probably by 4 a.m., crossing the state line and hitting us with a little bit of wintry mix. We've got winter weather advisories in place. Don't be surprised if maybe we add another 1 or 2 in parts of Oklahoma. The reason why you see a gap between north of Tulsa and here northwest Arkansas and parts of the River Valley is because if you head into northern Oklahoma, temperatures should be cold enough most of the time for some snow, so they've got snow chances. But here in parts of green country, we may stay mostly green just because it's going to be rainfall coming in, but then it switches over to snow as across the state line as temperatures drop. It's just a timing thing. That's all it is. If this storm system came at any other time, it would not be snow for us. Well, there could be maybe a couple of snowflakes mixed in, but it wouldn't want to be a big wintry system for us. Not that it's a big wintry system now, it's just our first chance for some snow, but it could cause some slick spots. I want to show you why. There's the rain coming in. This is why you don't see a bunch of winter weather advisories across Oklahoma. A lot of rain mixing in with some of that snow. Temperature's kind of warm. You can get snow at 36, but you can get some rain mixed in with it too. You don't have to necessarily be right at 32 in order to be getting snow where you live. But then notice, this is 4 o'clock, starts to approach the state line. By 5 o'clock, most of it's crossing into western Arkansas. But look how the temperatures will continue to drop for the rest of the morning. Get a little bit colder and a little bit colder. And that helps increase your snow chance and start decreasing your rain chance. In the River Valley, we're still going to kind of get a mix because our temperatures are still all over the place. Our terrain is complex in the River Valley. Northwest Arkansas may be higher up and kind of complex in a different way, but in the River Valley, we get close to the Arkansas River, then we've got mountains, we've got hills, we've got everything in the River Valley. That makes it tough, but there will be some snow flying around throughout the River Valley. You may be waking up to snowflakes flying as you head out the door tomorrow. By 7 o'clock, we're probably getting some of our heaviest snow. So from about 6 to 8 o'clock is that burst of snow. What else happens at that time, though? The whole morning rush. That's the problem with this storm system. We've not done a 5 News red weather alert because this isn't a major storm. We've done a yellow weather alert just because of the timing. The timing's not great for us as it hits during the morning commute. 7 o'clock, most of us getting snow. There could be a little bit of rain mixing farther south and a little bit farther west, too. By 8 o'clock, the whole thing starts to get lighter. You still see a decent amount of snow over 5 country, but everything starts to get lighter and maybe back off towards the south and the west as we got that nice southeast wind, looking at about 11 miles per hour. We'll probably try to warm things up to try to get a couple raindrops to mix in. Here's 9 o'clock. Snow starting to push out, a couple raindrops there on the back edge, and then it's mostly out of here by 10, 11 o'clock. We may still have a couple lingering rain and snow showers in Johnson County or Logan County for another hour, but everyone's done by lunchtime and 1 o'clock. We stay kind of cloudy the rest of the day. There could be a few sun breaks, but if you get a sun break, it won't last long. We'll go back to clouds here shortly. But we warm up. Look at temperatures. We're in the 40s. Ground temperatures are also still fairly warm. We haven't had huge cold air outbreaks yet this year. So what does that mean for the snow? Well, you get a burst in the morning, and then most of it melts really quickly. Any slick spots on the roads? they're gone within an hour or so after becoming slick. So it's just a timing thing that it hits during the morning rush hour. You're looking at the snowfall map. This is what we're thinking across the state. Went ahead and kind of wrote it in on the map with different colors. There's also the legend behind me too. But we've got this light blue color right on the southern end where we're getting chances for rain to mix in. You get south of Poto, it might be tough. Wouldn't be surprised if we got a stray report of a little dusting there in Waldron or Mina, but most of them will be north of Waldron, so Hackett, Hartford, Blue Mountain, Boonville, Poto. We could have a couple dusting in spots. What we mean by dusting in spots is that there could be some bare patches where we just kind of got rain. The snow wasn't able to really accumulate that much. And there would be some patches of some dustings too. You get north of the river, you start to get in the foothills of the Boston Mountains, maybe a dusting to an inch. That carries on to northwest Arkansas too. So north of the river, north of I-40, dusting to an inch. And then in higher terrain areas, there could be 1 to 2 inches, and those extend also north into Missouri and parts of Kansas, where they should be cold enough most of the time as this thing's passing on through. Here's a closer look at home. Northwest Arkansas metros, we are expecting some light accumulations. Probably most of us at least get some sort of dusting. Some of us could even try to get a solid inch, but it wouldn't last very long. Here's the other thing. People sending in those photos. You could get maybe, let's say, just for fun, you could get 2 inches of snow that fell from the sky, but the bottom layer keeps melting, so it never actually shows a full 2 inches. So it gets kind of tricky when it comes from a snowfall forecasting standpoint, but this is what we're expecting. Rainfall will mix in the river valley, so it'll be a little bit tougher for us at times to get the biggest accumulations. All right, so what kind of impacts are we talking about? Let's do each one. Roads, they're going to be wet. I'm going to show you a picture in a moment what we're talking about. Most of them are going to be wet, kind of like this video where you see the snow out there. Not really accumulate on the roads too much, except maybe a little bit on the shoulders where you don't have those tires running over. But most of the roads will be wet. It's the bridges and overpasses that you always have to look out for that we keep, I know we keep banging that drum, but it's those bridges. We have so many bridges here in Arkansas with our terrain here in the western half of the state. So bridges could turn a little bit slick in spots. Not every bridge is going to be slick though. Most of the accumulation that you see that you want to take a picture of, that'll be on the grass, that'll be on your car, your mailbox, things like that. It won't necessarily be on the road. I don't think we're going to be tracking a bunch of tire tracks all across Arkansas. And that's what we're thinking now. What about schools? We've had so many questions on, okay, is my school going to close? Of course, some folks aren't even back yet, but if you are back at school yet, of course, it comes down to the school district. A lot of times when you get some of the big schools to fall, the rest will fall too. It's kind of interesting how that all plays out. But tomorrow morning, I know superintendents and a lot of school board members, of course, be waking up, looking around, see what's going on. There is a low chance for some school disruptions tomorrow, and it's just because of timing. If you can get to school, you're coming back home is going to be okay, because roads, by then, there could still be some wet spots, but the slick spots should be mostly be done. So getting home's not the problem. It's maybe trying to head to school. So maybe some delays. There could be a couple cancellations. The highest chance of a cancellation would be maybe some more of your rural schools and school districts that are closer to the mountains. Those mountains could play kind of tricks on us with some of these snow bands coming in. The school disruption chance becomes much lower in the river valley because we're trying to accumulate, but it may not accumulate very much. So we'll see. That's our best guess, as much as we can try to figure out. All right, this photo was taken right around 5:58, I think, in Amarillo, as I was checking. I went ahead and took this from Texas, their DOT. This is a picture of I-40 coming right into the downtown area, meeting some other state highways coming through. This is what it's probably going to look like. This is kind of looking into our future. This is what's coming our way. This is the storm system that's headed our way right now. And I think the impacts are going to be very similar. So you're looking at the interstate, for example. It is super wet. And then you get towards the shoulders, there's a little bit of snow trying to creep up. We could see a little bit of that too. But then look at these bridges. Isn't this crazy? Look how there's really not a lot of snow accumulation, maybe just a little in some of these cracks. That might also just be water reflecting. Where the ground meets the road, but as soon as the road goes above the ground, you got this cold air pocket underneath. Look what happens. All of a sudden, you start getting this pocket of some snow, especially on the shoulders. It's even creeping up onto parts of the lane too. So then you get tire tracks kind of focusing on one side, trying to get the bare side as folks are headed over this. This is what we're expecting. So this is another way to look at it, kind of put some annotations on it. So watch out for, it's just wet roads for the most part, but bridges and overpasses could be slick. And also, kind of a fun one. Look at the right-hand side of your screen. See that car? A little bit of snow there on the top. That's most likely what it's going to happen. So this is our best look at this is what to expect tomorrow morning. And then you can plan your own day based on this. Most of the time, you're probably going to be fine getting to where you're going. But you just maybe have to take some of these bridges a little bit slower, especially the ones that turn. Those are the toughest. The one in Sunset, that can also be tough. We usually have to watch that. That's usually a hot spot or cold spot, I guess you would say. This is coming from Amarillo. This is what's headed our way. So snow chances tomorrow morning. By the afternoon, we're dry. And there could be maybe a stray snowflake or stray raindrop, but the majority of the system's out of here. This weekend, we dry out. We'll be a little bit cool on Saturday. We'll rebound Sunday. Sunday looks nice before another storm comes in. No severe weather, but heavy rain possibly hits us Monday, maybe an inch of rain. And then we'll have a mix of rain and snow showers. As we get closer to this storm, we'll have a few more details on it. We've been so focused on this one. But one thing to note about this storm, if you're already looking, you're like, hey, man, I don't care about Friday morning. I want to talk about this one. This one's the one that looked juicier. This is the one that you see on social media a little bit more saying, hey, this week's not bad, but next week, watch out. A couple new updates. This one's looking a little bit warmer. So it may not be a huge blast of snow on the backside. Of course, we're still a couple of days out, but that's just kind of where we're trending the past few kind of data simulations when we're trying to figure out, okay, how warm does it get Sunday? And how much can we drop temperatures on the backside? We'll drop them, but will it be enough to completely just have pure snow on the backside? We'll see, but there could be some raindrops that mix in. It could honestly be a very similar setup to what we have now, where we get a little bit of snow, a little bit of rain, but nothing too crazy. That's the update on your Monday, Tuesday storm. The big difference compared to what we're getting on Friday is the whole day before, it just pours. We get a bunch of rain. Now, if we were cold enough this whole time to get snow, this would be a good storm system. In fact, probably good amounts of snow are going to hit Kansas and Missouri, but we're going to get soaked for the first part with a little bit of wintry mess there on the backside that we'll have to see. Maybe tough to accumulate after all the rain that tries to fall. But yellow weather alerts, because these aren't big snowstorms, but we do have the chance for a little bit of wintry weather headed your way for the first time of 2024.